You think I overreacted? Hello, guys. Welcome to another edition of The Grandstanders. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined, of course, by my cohorts. On my left, Russ Stevens, and on my right, Uncle Joe McLaughlin. Revis, why'd you leave us? Guys, I was thinking this was going to be a slow week in sports, and I'm sitting there on Tuesday night, and Max, my oldest son, comes up and he says, Daddy, I have very bad news. Darrelle Revis has signed with the Jets. Oh, that did ruin my night, and that was my reaction. Guys, we had it all wrong. We had Revis staying with the Patriots and moving on for the next season with everybody back, right?
I had McCourty gone and Revis staying, and I couldn't have been more wrong.
So if you're looking at the end of the season, the Super Bowl, Malcolm Butler makes that great interception. The game's over, right?
Okay.
We celebrate for about 2 seconds, and your next thought is, who's the main priority of coming back? We want Revis back, right? That's the question that immediately goes into the offseason during the celebration. And now all of a sudden, not only does he leave the Patriots, but he goes to the Jets. Your reaction when you heard the news?
It is like banging your head against the wall. Even when you get past the emotion of losing someone to the Jets, to me, the banging of the head against the wall was, we in the 10 years between Super Bowls, how many years did we lose because our defensive backfield couldn't stop a 3rd and 6, a 3rd and 9, a 3rd and 12, a 4th and 18? No lead was safe. Right. And now we banged our head against the wall for 10 years, and now we've just set the same scenario up.
Because he was the missing piece, right? He's that piece that put us over the top.
The straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah,
That's right.
Compared to the last 2 Super Bowls, when we needed those stops in the third quarter, guys like Revis are who stood up, right, and came through.
That's right.
And now all of a sudden, he's gone. 1 year, like a blur, and then he goes to, I don't know, is he the Jets' our most hated rival? I mean, is it the hammer versus the nail?
Yeah, it's the hammer versus. I'm not that worried about the Jets
Yeah.
piece. He could have gone. I mean, the Jets piece is a nice side story that he went there as opposed to somewhere else. That we're banging our heads against the wall because we're setting ourselves up for a lousy defensive backfield again.
But it's funny that he was so quiet here, chose a role in the background, and now he left for the Jets so he could be the king of Manhattan again.
True.
Okay, so who failed here? All right, did the Patriots fail nothing stopped them from negotiating with Revis far earlier than last week or this week. Why didn't we sign him during the season?
Because the same thing, the reason why John Lester's agent didn't negotiate with the Red Sox during the season. They're going to wait and find the best offer. No matter what offer you give them, they'll say, thanks, very nice. I'll wait and see what everyone else says.
So let me give you my take. No one failed. Right? No one failed. Everyone got what they wanted. And probably everyone got what they knew they were going to get going into this thing. Because the more you read afterwards, the more you kind of think, and Borges had this in the paper the other day, there was a very interesting article today about the negotiation, was this thing may have been basically the expectation from the beginning. That he's going to play a year, right? If it so happens that he thinks he's maximized his leverage with the Patriots, and the Patriots are comfortable with that, we'll sign him. But it felt like very opportunistic.
Well, look, the Jets traded him to Tampa. They didn't sign him last year. So they had 2 other opportunities to keep him. They didn't do that. There were other teams you would think that would have wanted Revis, but was there? Okay? You know what I mean? If you think about it, where are the other teams?
Well, he used his career here, this 1 year here, to revive his career.
But to leverage
more
himself
abundant.
to the Jets.
Absolutely.
But to leverage, not to the rest of the league, but to
It
the
seems
Jets.
clear now that he wanted to go back to the Jets all along. They didn't want him back last year. And the reason why I say no one failed is we got a Super Bowl out of it. He got a big contract. I don't think Belichick's that upset about it.
The Jets are selling tickets now like crazy.
All right. But this is a fail, right? I mean, this is a PR fail.
Well,
I mean, the
it's
Patriots
a
are taking
PR
fail,
failure.
that's it.
Right. And to the extent that, take your question, to another level, is I think the failure was last year when they signed him, we all wanted that to be a 2-year contract. And the reason why we're all happy about it at the beginning, because, oh, yeah, we got him for 2 years. And then, like, 6 hours later, it comes up, we only have him for 1 year. And there was that little nagging feeling in the back of our heads all year, like, this could be a one and done. So the failure was, could they have forced him into a 2-year contract last year?
Okay. All right, now he's in the Jets uniform, so I do hate you, Darrelle Revis. Let's just get that right out there and open. So now let's throw the fandom in there. Okay, we're Patriots fans, right? So let's look at the game against the Ravens in the playoffs. Darrelle Revis played very poorly. Patriots could have lost that game very easily. So are we sitting there banging our head and hitting the wall if the Patriots lose that game and we lose Revis?
Because I'm not buying it. I know where you're going.
The defense was different all year.
I know where you're going. I totally agree with Joe. He changed the defense that we could play. He allowed us to play man-to-man, single high safety all year long. Look at the list of #1 wide receivers we took out in those 6 weeks.
Just
neutralized them.
Oh, I know. No,
not because of him.
I'm just saying.
Not just because of him, but he enabled the whole defense to play like that.
Totally agree.
Look, we're reacting the way we are, and obviously, I'm very upset. But it's because we won a Super Bowl, and we want this to continue next year. We feel like we have this small window with Tom Brady, and we feel Revis needs to be a part of it, right?
We feel that the degree of difficulty for us to get back in the AFC Championship and win a Super Bowl just went up radically.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm still not afraid of any team in the AFC.
Okay. No, and definitely not the Jets. They signed Ryan
Not
Fitzpatrick as a
Even
quarterback.
with the signings they've made, not the Broncos.
I will forever be scared of the Ravens. Let's who's kidding who, right? We're scared of the Ravens, but I mean there may be others.
But in Bill we trust to a level.
I think I think to a
Historically, since he's been here, this week I'm jumping off the bridge, and a week later I'm saying, geez, maybe he knows what he's doing again.
Yeah.
Okay, now I've just come up with a crazy thought, driving here. Well, let's not underestimate a guy named Malcolm Butler, all right? Malcolm Butler was the star of the Super Bowl, made one of the greatest plays in the history of the Super Bowl, got appreciably better during the season, okay?
He played great.
He's your starting quarter.
Right, he played great the whole fourth quarter of the Super Bowl.
But Sterling Moore did the same thing against Baltimore a few years before.
Right.
Yeah, well, not to the level
Who was
of
the
what
guy? Who was
Malcolm
the
Butler
Sterling
did.
Moore that knocked it out of
Yeah,
the
right.
Wasn't there? There was a Dallas Cowboy defensive back that won the MVP in the Super Bowl. It was like Smith or something.
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
And we never heard of him again.
Never heard of him again. So let's
I'm just saying,
let's pump the brakes on Malcolm Butler a little bit.
No, but we can't pump the brakes because
Yeah,
he's
he's our starting
He's
quarterback.
number one on the depth
He's
chart now.
who we're dancing with
That's
next
true,
year.
true.
Look, remember, he started the season, Miami Dolphins. He was starting alongside Revis, to begin that game.
We're gonna find out.
They lost that game.
We're gonna find out.
No,
how
they
good
did
he
lose
is.
that game.
Right.
And that's a segue into the quarterback who wasn't playing that game. And the reason Malcolm Butler started the opening game was Brandon Browner
Your
was.
man Brandon.
Yeah, my guy Brandon, he was suspended for the first 4 games. Well, he came and he had a season for which I was quite pained watching him the whole time. He actually played 9 games, and guys, he had 15 accepted penalties called on him. Well, he had about 25 tackles. I know you guys are big fans of Browner.
Yes.
I'm not. He just signed today with the Saints for 3 years. Sure. He's out the door. Are you happy about this?
I'm not sad because he's not in. He was a great compliment to Revis on the other side of Revis. You put Brandon Browner in a #1 quarterback position, he's going to get 35 penalties. I mean, there's going to be no stopping the amount of penalties they're going to call on him, right? So I think what we do is Browner wasn't a fail. Browner made the second most important play in the Super Bowl, which was jacking that guy up at the line of scrimmage so Butler could intercept that pass, right? So that's not a fail. And he went to let the Saints overpay for him. Browner would have been misplaced.
Because it's pretty clear. Remember that after the season's over, the Patriots hierarchy gets together and they literally grade every play for every player of the whole season. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe Brandon Browner turned out too well when it come grading time because they had him on a contract and they ostensibly released him a few days ago.
Well, and it appears that they released him even after they made the decision not to bring Revis back. That's how bad they wanted Browner gone.
There was a $2 million bonus he was due.
But I mean, his contract was,
It was doable because now it looks like cornerbacks setting a new record every day about.
Well, you need him.
Even guys that run-of-the-mill journeymen are getting like $6-7 million a year.
Right, so obviously the depth chart doesn't look too good right now for the Patriots and the quarterback, but it's only March, and heck, we usually, like we mentioned last week, we don't talk about football in March, right? It's not important.
Coming off a Super Bowl, you do.
But we're talking a lot. So now all of a sudden, we're thinking a new defensive philosophy, right? Yesterday we signed Jabal Sheard, a linebacker, defensive end hybrid from the Browns for a pretty good contract, 2-year deal. Are we turning the tide now? We're not going to be cornerback driven. We're going to be a team that wants to rush the passer, that's not going to depend as much on the cornerbacks because we don't have that talent level.
Yeah, look, what we're arguing about here is not whether they spend their money. It's a salary cap and floor league. It's where. It's how they spend it. And they're going to spend it. They have to spend it. So if you can't get defensive backs, to your point, then you might as well get someone to rush the passer, because we couldn't do that last year.
Linebackers can control the middle of the field. Just coach up your cornerbacks to push them out of bounds.
And linebacker was a need. I mean, I saw during the draft that we need to get some linebackers.
Absolutely.
Joe, you
said that last week or 2 weeks ago. What do the Patriots need? You said linebacker depth, and they're going to
Hightower played that whole second half of the season with the separated shoulder.
Well, Ninkovich played like 99% of the snaps this year, something crazy like that.
It's weird because, we want
At least this guy will spell him and Jones, which is good. And he's right in that line of hybrid guys that started with Mike Vrabel, Ninkovich.
Bruschi was a hybrid guy.
Bruschi was a hybrid.
Absolutely. They like the hybrid guys.
Yeah, that defensive end, outside linebacker guy. Let's hope that he turns out as well as the other three did.
True.
You're coming off a Super Bowl year, and all of a sudden you may need to buy a magazine with a scorecard to see who's on the team, because we have a mass exodus of players that we got to know. Vereen went to the Giants, right? Woolfolk looks like he's going to the Houston Texans, right?
Casillas is down with the Giants.
Well, Browner's gone. I mean, all of a sudden,
Reeves is gone.
We're kind of reinventing the wheel personnel-wise, right, for next year. I mean, there's going to be a lot of new guys. McCourty stayed. Which, let's talk about McCourty. Were you surprised about that signing? And because they paid him pretty good.
Look, I was. I predicted last week that he'd be gone. But I think the reason behind all these departures is these guys run their business like they're actuaries, right? They've got these models that say they pumped it into. The deep story.
And John Henry's buying into it.
They may have more of a Carmine mentality than even the Red Sox, because I think they put McCourty's numbers in, realized how young he was, and said, good bet. And they put the Revis numbers in and said, bad bet. And they put the numbers in on Shane Vereen, bad bet. Vince Wilfork, bad bet.
So is Ernie Adams the Patriots' Carmine?
The man
behind
behind the curtain. Yeah.
Right, or he's the Patriots baseball handle.
Yeah.
No, who's the guy? Bill
James.
Bill James, yeah.
Ernie Adams is Bill James of the Patriots.
But could stats be driving more of these personnel moves than ever? I mean, because we're seeing some stuff that kind of doesn't make sense, right?
There's more analytical analysis of football now than there ever was before. Before, the stats were sacks, tackles, passes, completions.
Yeah, I think they, and there's some philosophies. He's never paying a running back more than $2 or $3 million a year. He's paid? Yeah. He's never paid a running back. He's not paying running backs as much as he's paying Gostowski.
No, right.
Gostowski's making more money than any running back on our team.
Yeah. And
I don't think even Corey Dillon made that as much as Gostowski's.
He might have back then.
It was right around there, though.
Yeah.
But listen, it's very difficult with football because obviously it's a 52-man roster. So it's really tough to kind of have any sense of what the team's going to look like right now, right?
That's right.
So when it all comes out in the wash, we'll see what it looks like. But it's sure interesting, right?
Sure is.
Max, my oldest son, I have twins, 15 years old, and he's the oldest by 10 minutes.
Max is getting a lot of airtime tonight.
Max is getting a lot of airtime tonight. He says, Daddy, why don't we ever cover the revolution?
The season just started.
Yeah, the season. So I've decided I'm going to give about 15, 20 seconds to the revolution. Okay. The revolution did start, and I think their season's like 11 months and 2 weeks. Yeah,
crazy.
They did start.
It's like the NASCAR season.
Yeah, so I literally have no interest in the revolution unless they are in the finals and there's about 2 minutes left.
And they're losing by one.
Yeah, but then I tune in. But I will say one thing about soccer that maybe the MLS needs to do is the thing that's appealing for me as a fan watching soccer, the European soccer, are the announcers. The Scottish English announcers are fascinating.
They're fabulous.
Fabulous,
They
right?
really are.
I mean, is this the only? This is my question.
I don't even need to watch the game. Just let that sound wash over me.
Right.
Right, exactly. Joe. Is this the only sport that the announcers actually make the game more interesting?
It's the accent, and it's the accent, and it's what you can get
The
away
passion,
with saying if
absolute
you've got
passion.
either a Spanish
right.
accent
Yeah.
or an English accent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and
Because
get right
they
by
can-
the FTC.
Oh,
Yeah, right. 'Cause they can cuss all day, and you think you're giving flowers,
If you were
right?
an American person screaming "goal" like a lunatic, you'd be off the air.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd be off the air, but you can get away with it.
Yeah, so I think that it's actually
I agree.
fascinating, right?
It is.
But all right, so that was it for the Revolution for another
Until
season.
like 11 months from now. When the
11
season
months,
ends.
yes, and we'll tape ourselves with 2 minutes left in the game if they get in. All right, so segueing over to the Celtics, who are actually showing a pulse, guys, who have become interesting to watch.
Well, there's a little bit of relationship to soccer because the two guys that seem to be doing well for the Celtics these days are named Gigi and Jarebko. One's a Swede and the other's an Italian.
I know, unbelievable.
I'm not not sold on either one.
Oh, you can't be sold
not.
on them. No,
they're,
I'm
they're
not sold on them
5-point
either.
a game guys that be
Yeah.
gone next year.
You think?
Oh,
Greg
definitely.
Stiesma came in like
That's true,
Haley's
that's
Comet.
true.
Like let's not get too carried away.
But
with
still, a
ourselves.
pretty remarkable trade for Tayshaun Prince that we got guys who are actually contributing.
Look.
I mean, they're contributing right
Well,
now.
I think
as we-
Isaiah Thomas is making these
Oh, he's
guys
a
look
terrific
good.
player. But
Yeah.
there could be no question, and you and I particularly have turned our opinion around on Brad Stevens over the last 2 months.
Oh, you're
that
right.
win
Oh.
last night against Memphis, Memphis was healthy, brought all their guys in. We don't have our best player. And Stevens coached those. Those are that's a collection of very odd basketball
And that's
players
a
on the Celtics
big
right
team. Memphis is a big team
Tough.
against the Lilliputians of the Celtics.
We have no chance winning that game, but yet we won that
We
game.
won that game.
Yeah, and Isaiah Thomas truly is the offense of that team, and for them
Unbelievable.
to they got into the 90s without him.
I mean, these
is-
players that we have are just strange. They're strange players. Tyler Zeller's a sort of a strange player.
Yes.
Bradley, in his own way, is kind of, it's just an odd collection that somehow
But Brandon Bass is playing remarkable. I don't
Unbelievable.
even know what's
Yeah.
into him.
contract.
Yeah,
Is he in
I
a
guess,
contract?
yeah, and I think we're
Yes,
going to
right?
actually, this talk that when we signed Brandon Bass, and I would say absolutely. I mean, he's actually plays center. What is he, about 6'6", 6'7"? And he's playing center,
Yeah.
and he's playing well against top guys. The future looks
It's terrific.
right.
I think it's terrific. As I said last week, let him make a run. Let Stevens get a sniff of the playoffs. Let his system pay off and attract guys.
Yeah, let him have some success. For the job he's done this year with a different cast of characters, it seems like every other week. He's really done well with this collection.
Fun to watch.
They throw him someone different every week.
And Russ made a great point last week that I did not even think about, that Brad Stevens is the star of this team, okay? I
think so.
And he's coming out of these timeouts right now with
play.
plays
How
that
about
are
that play?
remarkable.
Oh, an
are
alley-oop to
remarkable.
Marcus Smart
Last
over
night.
Courtney
I
Lee
know.
was an incredible play.
My theory is that it all changed when we got Rajon Rondo out the door.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
became his team. And now we're just seeing it each day like a child just grow and grow in
Look,
front
I'm
of our
dying to
eyes.
ask our guest in 2 weeks because
Yeah.
Bob Ryan has always called Rajon Rondo, he calls it, what's he say, sui generis, which is one of a kind, right? And and I actually believe that, and that was his upside, and like most people, their strengths are their weaknesses. That actually became his downfall because you couldn't do anything with him after a while.
No.
And by the way, he's failing in Dallas. No one wants to play with him.
Miserably.
Yeah.
And Crowder's a good player who, moving forward, will be a
Yeah.
piece of the puzzle, right?
And all three guys that play point now for the Celts buy into Stevens'
Absolutely.
I mean, because the guy, you
Or
were on
try
the Jeff
hard for
Green
him.
train for a long time. I mean, they got rid of. We're a better team without the guys who were considered our two best players to start the year.
Yeah.
Jeff Green, who played against us last night, contributed more last night for us than he did for all his time. Just
He finally
terrible.
got the booing he deserved.
Oh, my
Just
God.
terrible. He can fall into a rebound to save his life. Just wants to get rid of the ball. Disinterested. all these trades.
Wanders up the court on defense. Just
And they put the ball in his
Aimless.
hand for the biggest shot of the game. I was like, what the heck was that?
And then he gets the ball and he tries to remind, I'm Jeff Green. I'm Jeff Green. And yet,
Bad scene.
Oh,
No,
someone
it's
else do
remarkable.
this. Yeah.
It's remarkable what the Celtics have done this year. It's one of the best stories in Boston sports. Over
very
the course of the
quietly,
year.
too, going under the radar.
because I have to admit, I think Danny Ainge is kind of a dope. All right, I just kind of, I'm not that impressed with Danny Ainge, but I've been impressed. Let me say, all right, I have changed my opinion.
At least he's trying.
He's doing a great job all of a sudden of getting role players, and now I think he's maybe 2 pieces away, a small shooting forward and a defensive center from competing in a very weak conference.
I think they are going to make a wicked run at Kevin Love this summer, and maybe Kawhi Leonard. I mean, could you imagine if you could ever get Kevin Love and Kawhi Leonard on this team? Those are the 2 guys.
Yeah.
You just named the 2 guys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Maybe not the defensive center.
Leonard
but,
would be really a nice match for us.
Are you kidding?
Love, I don't know, doesn't play enough defense for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
you'd have to pair Love up with a
with-
defensive center.
But I think you go for Leonard, and then all of a sudden you got a, I don't know, Perkins type. I just say that only because, he fits the mold.
He's
Circa
out of the game now.
2004.
No, yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, that's poor man. That's a man who was only like 30 years old, and he might as well be
He was a
Spencer
very
Haywood,
old,
right?
very old
Kendrick Perkins is
Yeah.
now a poor man's Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, right. No, he is. It's true. I know that gets sad.
He looks like he's in his 50s.
yeah, that's
he
a
looks
reason.
like he was in his 50s when he was 19 years old. Right?
When he was fresh out of high school.
Yeah, like,
Him and Greg Oden.
Yeah, that's a reason why these guys shouldn't be coming out. of
but
high
if
school.
we had a Kendrick Perkins, from 10, on
With
this team
knees,
now,
yeah,
oh my gosh.
Oh.
Oh, like Jordan out. The
So now-
Clippers, I'd love to have.
DeAndre Jordan,
Yeah.
we almost got him.
Hey, I'd love to see the Celtics make the playoffs now. Seriously,
Oh,
I
of
would love to
course.
see them
Oh,
play
yeah.
Atlanta in the first round
Why
because
not?
I'm not
Yeah.
sold on Atlanta.
There's a difference between a 10th pick and a 15th pick. And
Yeah.
the amazing thing is Ainge has accumulated all these picks and still has a decent team. Philly has accumulated all these picks, and they're one of the worst teams in the century.
Yeah, yeah,
And even when they pick in the top 3 every year, they pick a dog.
yeah.
We've got one of them, Evan Turner.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a referendum on what a job Brad Stevens is doing is because players from other teams are mentioning after the game how hard
Right.
the Celtics play and how well coached they are. So as far as a recruiting tool, there you go. Players are talking, around the league about the Celtics. And that only bodes well for the future.
Yeah.
And I didn't think there was going to be a future for the next few years. So
They've got the money to
Well,
attract
and the
a
kind of
free
winters
agent.
we have around here, it's nice and temperate
Yeah.
climate, and I'm sure everyone wants to come to Boston in the winter.
yeah. Oh, yeah, it's quite pleasant.
Quite pleasant,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just thawing out right now. So, speaking of spring and moving forward, there's a team called the Boston Red Sox. They will be opening in Fenway if they can get the snow gone in a month and a day.
Amazing.
And, well, of course, I'm going to shock you and tell you that Shane Victorino is injured a little bit. He's pulled. No one's more in tune with his muscles and the pulling of them than Shane Victorino, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, he's in and out of the spring training lineup.
There's nothing definite, but he's having issues with his legs.
Yeah, something tells me that
Sore
Shane
feet,
Victorino used to go to
yeah.
the school nurse a lot. when he was
Yeah,
growing
right,
up.
exactly. Yeah, right. And I see him sometimes in right field holding things and stuff. It's like, Shane, the camera's not even on you right now. Just save that till you get up.
Right.
But I made a bet with Joe, as I told you,
Yeah.
2 years ago. I made a bet with Joe.
Looked bad at first.
I
for
was
you.
not happy with the signing. Joe, you liked the signing. And of course, in 2013, Shane Victorino was everything we could have hoped for.
Absolutely.
And, I'm okay with the whole signing now. Pay $39 million for a World Series. I'll take that anytime. I made a bet with Joe. I said that Victorino would not, in his Red Sox career, get 20 home runs, a total of 20 home runs, and 100 RBIs. Guys, right now he's at 1773. My question to you is, Shane Victorino in the
3
Red
home
Sox
runs and
uniform,
27
I'd rather
gonna
see
put-
Mookie Betts out there than him any day. Castillo any day ahead of him. I really would.
He's not
The
going to
bet
do
be damned.
323. There's no way he's doing 323. I don't think he even plays 70 games with the Red Sox.
He's already retired in his head, I think.
Yeah, he is.
You could be right. And then now the only question is, given that he's already picked up the injury bug again, is could you even deal him? Yeah, you're paying someone to
Oh,
take
no
that
one will take
contract.
him.
No,
Yeah.
no,
You could deal Victorino to the Angels and pay $10 million of his contract, which is the likeliest scenario at this point in time. Is somebody needs an outfielder for 30 games, 40 games to start the year, pay the contract, put Mookie in right.
Switch hit. Oh, no, he doesn't switch hit anymore. He doesn't.
Yeah, we got to get on with our lives.
Because fans have to understand that everybody else has a TV too, and they're watching these games, and they know what Victorino's all about.
And I think there should be an expiration date on your song when you come up to the plate.
Yo,
Three little
Well,
birds.
they're shorting that, yeah.
I mean, Sweet Caroline is music to my ears before that, I'll tell you.
But they're already talking. Betts has played really well in spring training in the early part of it. They're already. It's giving him the center field
But you
position.
understand what's going on with Victorino down and Castillo down. You're looking at the continuation of the Daniel Nava era.
No.
Right? No, I
that's
mean
not happening.
Nava could be the starting right
It's
fielder.
either Nava or Craig.
I know.
One or the
He just
other.
wants
He could be the starting right fielder. In fact, that may happen.
Oh, that would be an opening day. Oh, that would be so
It's
painful.
going to be
Yeah.
Nava or Craig.
See, that,
One of them's on the roster. Opening
Nava
day.
or Craig, and I think it's Nava.
So you're saying that Daniel Nava will be in the starting lineup opening day,
How's
and
about
Big
Craig's
Papi
easier
won't
to
be.
deal,
Big
don't
Papi
you?
will not
I'd
be.
say there's at least a 30 or 40% chance that Daniel Nava starts a game before Big Papi this year.
That's when the season has already gone
Starts the
south.
season as the DH.
Yeah, right. And then we figure, and we'll get wiped out during the game, and then by the 8th inning, Daniel Nava will be pitching. So that'll be just it for my whole season.
That's going to be where the trade Bogarts sort of rumors start.
Oh yeah, Bogarts, who just seriously looks.
He looks like a monster.
Monster.
He
Monster.
looks much better.
Oh my God!
Better.
Right? He's got a couple home runs here.
Driving up his trade value.
And these
His trade value.
sinker ball pitches are going to keep him in the game, so he's not just.
Sure.
There isn't a team I would take Bogarts for. Forgetting about again. I've even changed
Let me
now.
ask you a question. Xander Bogarts for who's the lefty on the LA Dodgers? Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do it. He's a
You've
star.
lost your mind.
He's a star.
Done
You
lost
just
your mind.
watch.
You've
You
done
watch.
lost your mind.
You watch. He is going to be the face of Major League Baseball in Bogarts. You watch.
Okay.
That's it. Well, that went quick. Can you believe it?
We didn't get to spend any time with the Red Sox.
No, right, just a little bit because it was Patriots. That's our show for tonight. Of course, want to thank Russ. Want to thank Uncle Joe. Want to thank everyone in the background. My name's Scott Kerman. We'll see you next week at the same time. Have a great night.